Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and in today's episode we're going to discuss games based on McDonald's. If you're like me and you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you're part of what I call the McDonaldland generation. We were blessed to be able to grow up with these amazing characters that McDonald's created, like Ronald McDonald and his group of friends. And of course it made sense that as video games came to be in the 80s, that they would make some games based on these iconic characters.
My viewers that are around the same age as me understand this. In every commercial break during the day, or especially during our Saturday morning cartoons, we would see commercials starring Ronald McDonald and his friends in a magical place called McDonaldland. While Ronald was the main star, his friends became legends themselves. We had Grimace, the big purple guy who loved shakes, Mayor McCheese, the mayor of McDonaldland, Big Mac, the chief of police, the professor, an inventor and scientist, and of course, Ronald also had his frenemies like Captain Crook and Hamburglar, who loved to steal hamburgers. Honestly, though, I really did not know that Captain Crook was a villain, because most of the time he was always portrayed as a good guy, but anyway. As time went on, characters would be retired and new ones would be added. There would be movies, toys, cartoons, and even video games based on the characters. Even though I would love to get some of that really cool vintage McDonaldland playground equipment that you saw in the previous slides there, I don't have thousands of dollars to spend on them, and really, my daughter is pretty well grown, but I do try to get as much McDonaldland stuff as I can. As you can see, I got quite a few of the action figures, the plates, the train, and it works, and even those really cool McDonaldland Happy Meal toys that just came out.
Now let's discuss those amazing games that were based on these iconic characters.
In my very first episode, I spoke about the McDonald's Golden Arches Adventure game. This game was supposed to get released in 1984 and was supposed to be made for the Atari 2600. Unfortunately, it didn't get released, but when the prototype was found, it kind of inspired me to start this channel. Now, I'm not going to talk about it a lot because I did cover it extensively in my first episode, but needless to say, they never found a fully functional Atari 2600 ROM of this game, but they did find a really cool one for the Atari 8. And here it is, with the codename Pac-Mac. Now, in this game, you take on the role of our hero, Ronald McDonald, and you are trying to stop these bad aliens from taking off with the Golden Arches, which I think is kind of representing a restaurant itself. Not only do you have to deal with these aliens and repair the Golden Arches, but you also got Hamburglar trying to sneak down there and grab some of the food at the bottom of the screen. When you make contact with the aliens, you have to pick up more food energy and try to stop them. You have a counter at the top that tells you how many aliens you have to, take care of before the end of the level. Now, as it goes on, it gets really, really difficult. According to rumors I've heard, the game only goes so far and then it stops, but I haven't gotten that far because, frankly, the game just goes incredibly crazy. But honestly, it's a great game, and I really had a lot of fun playing it. And I'll talk about it till the end of time because, to me, it was just a great find to find this video game that was an important part of my childhood. It would only be 4 years later when the next McDonald's-related game would be released, and this is McDonaldland, that was released in 1988 for the Famicom in Japan. Now, this is interesting because of the fact that most people in the West don't know that in Japan, they don't call him Ronald McDonald, they call him Donald McDonald because of the fact that the R sound is not present in the Japanese language. Now, the premise of this game is quite simple. You take on the role, you're trying to rescue your friends, collect hamburgers. It was a typical 80s NES or Nintendo platformer. Doesn't really stand out from other games other than the fact that it's McDonald themed. So if you are a fan of platformer games and you're a McDonald's fan like me, you might want to check this out. Next up, we have MC Kids. This was released for the NES in 1992 by Virgin Entertainment, sort of towards the end of the NES's life, so this is a little bit on the rare side. In this game, you take on the role of one of these two boys, and Ronald is sent you out on a mission to find some lost items. Now, this game is really bizarre because at first it kind of looks like a Mario type game. And it is, sort of, but I mean, it's out there. You can walk upside down, and the mechanics are really bizarre, and it's a real challenging game, which is strange because I kind of thought at first it was geared towards children, but overall, it's a pretty interesting experience. And if you can get a hold of this game, I highly recommend trying it. Alright, in 1992, let's move over to the Sega Genesis, as we have Mick and Mac as the Global Gladiators. Yeah, I think this is about the time when McDonald's was trying to be cool, which they've tried sort of successfully, I guess, over the years. The premise of this game is this, and this is coming directly from Wikipedia. Global Gladiators is a platform game licensed from fast food chain McDonald's. While playing through the game's 12 levels, you'll notice McDonald's logos, burgers, and all sorts of family restaurant type stuff as you take Mick and Mac, the game's protagonists, on a journey to clean up monsters of slime, world, Toxie Town, and more. Yeah, so it's kind of a cash grab in a lot of ways. It's a typical platformer game from that time period. Nothing special, just I think it was basically McDonald's trying to appear cool and coming up with these two cool teenage characters and slime being popular. So yeah, definitely a cash grab and one that you could probably ignore. Alright, not even a year later, they released McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. This one also was made by Virgin, I believe. Yes, it was. And yeah, this is a platformer game, and it's the premise goes kind of like this. After finding a piece of a treasure map, the yellow clown travels through 4 different levels: forest, town, sea, and moon. He's off to find and defeat the baddies who have the other pieces of the map. Ronald can jump, shoot, and use his scarf to grab onto hooks to jump to higher levels. Jewels and flowers collected in each level can be used to purchase extra lives and power-ups in shops between levels. Actually, I really kind of like this one. It's really a lot of fun, and once I figured out how to use the scarf for the grappling hook, it became a pretty fun game overall. The graphics are really nice. The music is pretty cool. So yeah, this is definitely one to check out. A year later, a game would be released for the Game Gear by Sega, and that was Donald No Magical World, which translates to mean Ronald in the Magical World. This was also released in Japan. It's quite similar to the last game we just talked about, the Treasure Land Adventure. The gameplay, story, and level design are slightly different. Some of the music is the same, however. It's just right around the same kind of game. Overall, if you enjoyed the last one, you'll enjoy this one as well. Has the beautiful graphics and fun gameplay, just like what you would expect from the Game Gear, which I believe was a very, very underrated handheld game console. In the mid-90s, Sega released a game console called the Sega Pico. This console was strictly an edutainment gaming game system, and it had games for small children as well. It wasn't a big success in America, even though they did get some licensed titles for it and some characters from those titles, but it was a bigger success in Japan. In 2001, they released this game called Hello Kitty to McDonald de Asobo. In this game, Hello Kitty is getting a job at McDonald's, and she has to learn all the things that you do there. It's got some pretty cool little mini games that kids will enjoy, and some of the characters from the Hello Kitty universe. It's a shame this wasn't localized here in America, as I believe with all the Hello Kitty fans out there, they probably really would have enjoyed this game. For many years, rumors had been going around that there was a Nintendo DS game that was used as a training tool for those who worked at McDonald's in Japan. People had spoke of it, and other people had said that they had played it, and people were like, okay, that'd be kind of neat. We'd like to try to find it. It took many years, but finally somebody did find the ROM for it and dumped it online. And a little while later, somebody, I don't know if it was the same person, was actually able to translate part of it, or patch it as we call it. And so you have the eCrew, a development program for the Nintendo DS that was released only for restaurants in Japan in 2010. So what does this program do? Well, it pretty much trains you in just about every aspect of working at McDonald's, about cleanliness, washing your hands. It also allows you to, teaches you how to make certain foods like McNuggets, sandwiches, French fries, and stuff like that. Now you can find this ROM floating around pretty much all over the place. However, people are sometimes confused as to what code do you get when you start it, because it does ask for an ID in the code. Well, I'll let you know what it is. If you like to try this out and you get the ROM, it's not too hard to figure it out. Go to the login and then put in the code 482500 two times, and it'll load up. Now, not all of this has been translated, unfortunately, but quite a bit of it has, and you should be able to figure out how to do most of the stuff, especially if you yourself ever worked at McDonald's. So this is a really cool piece of lost media that was found, and hopefully as time goes on, more games like this that are rumored to exist will pop up. The most recent one that I heard of that popped up, which I would love to get it working, was the one that was made by Burger King for the Philips CDI. If any of you have a working copy of that, let me know, because I'd really like to check that out. And as far as I know, that would be the last game for several years, as the McDonaldland characters pretty much faded away, and unfortunately even Ronald himself did, which I found was kind of tragic. But it wasn't until early this year that suddenly, out of nowhere, a new McDonald's game popped up. In June of this year, Grimace's Birthday, a platformer game developed by Cruel Toys and published by McDonald's for web browsers, but developed for the Game Boy Color system, was released. It was kind of a currently ongoing promotion. I think it's kind of over now. The return of some of the McDonaldland characters, Grimace, Birdie, the Early Bird, Hamburglar, and the McNugget Buddies for Grimace's Birthday ice cream shake product that was... I don't know if it's even still available, but it was a while ago. So in this game, you take on the role of Grimace, going across town to round up his McDonaldland pals, the Hamburglar, Birdie, the Early Bird, and McNugget Buddies, in order to have his celebrate his birthday party at his McDonald's restaurant. Pretty cool game, pretty simple for the most part. It's really a neat game. And it was officially made by McDonald's, or was released by them. So it's a pretty cool game, actually, even though the Game Boy Color, of course, is no longer around. It's actually a pretty neat game, and you can find the ROM all over the place online if you want to get it that way, and I believe some people are selling carts of it. But it's a cute, fun little game. Like I said, not a long game, not a difficult game, but yet it's pretty cool for long-time McDonald's and McDonaldland fans like myself, and anyone who likes the old platformer games, you're sure to enjoy it. So you get a chance to grab this, I highly recommend it before it disappears for some reason. So, what is the future of McDonald's and McDonaldland? Well, it's hard to say. It seems like this recent resurgence of the McDonaldland characters was a success. It seems like it's a step in the right direction. I had written an email to McDonald's corporate a few years ago, and actually several years ago, and they had told me that they do have plans to bring back the McDonaldland gang in some way, shape, or form as time goes on. So let's just hope that they do, so that a new generation of kids can learn about Ronald and the Hamburglar, Big Mac, Grimace, Captain Crook, Mayor McCheese, and the Professor, and all the other members of the McDonaldland gang. Legendary characters that still resonate in the hearts of those who grew up enjoying them and the food of McDonald's. In our next episode, we're going to return to an old familiar format here on Classic Gamer 74, where we will do an AVP, Arcade versus Port of Dig Dug.
This episode of Classic Gamer 74 will close. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that little bell icon down there so you'll be notified when I upload any new episodes. Also, please check out my Patreon. I got some great videos on there that you're not going to find on YouTube here, including my upcoming episodes about adult games. I'm going to talk about strip poker, some adult arcade games, and then just some other adult games that you're not going to see on this family-friendly channel here. So again, please be generous and help me out on Patreon. The link is in the description below. Well, until next time, I'm Anthony Gamer. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.